Hey, this is Dr. Drew, and you were listening to This Life
with Bob Forrest
and Dr. Drew.
Here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here's another episode of This Life with Dr. Drew and Bob Forrest and our guest, Janice Dickinson. Been
Jan.
waiting for this.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much.
It is our 99th episode, Bob, believe it or not.
99.
Yeah, crazy. And
Number 9. Yeah.
Bob barely made it here this time because he thought he was going to die.
I really did.
What happened?
I got pneumonia, and I'm not big on keeping track of,
healthcare.
I'm a different generation. I'm not a computer person. Like, and
No,
I have
neither am
Kaiser.
I.
I have Kaiser. If you don't know how to work a computer, you're just gonna die. You know what I mean?
That's really bad.
You have to send emails and like.
No, but you have a temperature?
I don't even know how to
You don't
copy
look
an
sick.
email. No, I was sick 3 weeks ago. I was so sick. I was in and out. So I just paid cash going to an urgent care. Turns out urgent cares can't help you. It's just a bunch of students. I didn't know. It's right next to a hospital.
You should have gone to Minute Clinic at CVS. I'm serious.
It would have been just about. Listen, you need. It was a case in point of people not understanding. Forget how to fund the healthcare, how it works. You must have a primary care doctor. That physician.
I married one.
But at Kaiser, it's so hard. You don't even know who you're talking to. It really is. I mean, I like the system if you're healthy.
Do you have a Kaiser doctor?
I still don't know.
Okay, see, you need to have a doctor.
Why do you not utilize what's at arm's length? Dr. Drew Pinsky is one of the greatest doctors. He's my doctor.
I can't be his doctor. He's my friend. I can't have a dual relationship.
But
with
he
him.
was guiding me. He was saying, get in front of a doctor.
I kept saying, dude, don't go to the emergency room. Go see a doctor and let him or her take care of you.
Tell him what
Minute
you
Clinic.
said. Listen, I literally, this went on for like 8 days, Janice. On one night, I really realized, so I'm Googling, and a lot of people in their 50s and 60s die of pneumonia. And I'm like, so I call my business partners and I say, listen, if something happens, this is what I want to happen. And my partner, Evan, was like, what the hell's going on? And I was like, I don't know, but I just know that I'm not getting better. I haven't been getting better. I'm taking all kinds of medicine. I'm not getting better. And Drew keeps saying, get in front of a doctor. Let a doctor have eyes and ears on you.
Yeah, let them do their job.
So, but I'm ignoring that. I'm just going to the urgent care emergency room. So finally, after I thought I was going to die and then I didn't die, 2 more days, I was so ill. I couldn't breathe.
What was your temperature?
Like 101, 102.
I had 104.
But get this. So I go to this doctor's office. I decide I'm going to go to the most expensive doctor in my area of the Inland
Beverly
Empire.
Hills, Bob Forrest.
No, I live in the IE. So I go.
Inland Empire.
And I'm coughing and all this kind of stuff. And a doctor, I've been there about 30 minutes. A doctor peeks his head in the room I'm in. He goes, do you have asthma?
Oh, my God.
And I said, no. And he goes, okay, be with you in a minute. And he shut the door. And so then he came in and within like 3 minutes, he diagnosed me, gave me what I needed. I got better by the next night.
Did they hospitalize you?
No, he didn't need it. He needed a physician to use his or her judgment, to apply their judgment.
And his judgment was
then
that
you really didn't have pneumonia.
his judgment was that my coughing from the pneumonia was causing me to have
post bronchitic bronchospasm.
There you go.
Your post-bronchitic bronchospasm bleh, comes from all the help you
But
go
you think
to at
you're
night
gonna
during the
die.
rock shows and all your artists, that are friends that you take care of.
But the truth is that I just wasn't listening, which a lot of Americans don't do.
Night air really gets the lungs.
Look, you need a primary care doctor because that doctor will know how to navigate the system. And I was thinking about this when I was thinking about you. Bob went off on Facebook, and I'm like, dude, you need to see a primary care doctor. And so even if you see a subspecialist, right? Let's say you have joint pain, you go see a rheumatologist. Don't do that because that consult needs to be interpreted by somebody.
Okay.
A primary care doctor needs to take that consult and interpret it in the context of your overall health care. That when you're a hammer, sometimes the whole world's a nail, right?
Got it.
So you see consultants, you're going to get hammered because you're going to be a nail. They may get it right, they may get it exact, and if you are actually in a condition is their area of expertise, again, then your primary care doctor can send you back and get information and get more treatments. But somebody who knows how this works
that is like a brute. I mean, she takes so much time with me. She's up at UCLA, and she,
Can you see her and get a hold of her?
I can.
If you can't get a hold of her,
they have assistants.
Look at how frustrated Drew gets with me.
Here's what gets you, Bob. Here, let me present this case to you. Hi, my son's 23. He's actively suicidal. He's on Zoloft and Abilify, and he's going to kill himself right now. I don't know what to do. I've tried everything. I need you to see him right away. What's your first question?
You need to call 911 if he's really going to kill himself.
Yes, but what else do you want to know about his?
Is he a drug addict?
No. Who's prescribing the Zoloft and the Abilify? Because that person is responsible for every second of that kid's well-being.
I think I always bypass authority.
Right.
That's your problem.
And so you need to call that doctor. Bob, listen to me.
I was literally wanted Kaiser Foundation to shut down because they didn't help me.
So, Bob, you need to call that doctor, and if he or she doesn't answer, they are responsible to have somebody else to take that call to respond to you and take the responsibility that they've accepted. They've accepted it from then on. They are the responsible party, not somebody on Facebook. that doctor is responsible from then on.
There were doctors on Facebook giving me IM messages and what to do also.
Unbelievable.
Well, that's problematic.
Unbelievable.
All right.
So anyways, I almost died and now I'm back. So I'm here. You're alive, I'm alive.
No, but Bob, now you don't have any lives left because
I know.
You've been through all the stories we've heard about you that you're famous for, from walking the line.
Janice Dickinson, the first supermodel.
That's me.
That's her.
What else don't people know about Janice Dickinson?
Oh, I'm a grandmother.
Grandmother now.
I
got married. We went to her wedding. Were you at the wedding, Bob?
No.
I'm sorry.
It was
all right.
We just finished telling somebody last night. Was it Jason Wahler? It was the best, funnest wedding we've ever been to. The funnest ceremony we've ever been to.
I feel bad because I should have invited him, but we had such a very small, arena to get married. But I was thinking on the way over here today to do This Is Life, and all the people you really saved and helped, the two of you. Myself, I can say that I'm happily married.
Shelley helped you.
The team really did because you prescribed, you listened, you put up, but Shelley put up with it day by day, and stringing me along and getting me to class, AA meetings, and really guiding me to a better way of life. And I want to thank you for it.
We had the good team. We were a team, a real team like the old school teams.
That's what I'm saying.
And whoever the client attached with, the rest of us would back away because now we have one person who now has
control.
But
understand that our personality structures, each one of us was like a lock, and let's say the patient is a key.
Sasha too.
Right.
Sasha.
We had Louisa. We have
That's what I'm saying.
We have all these different team, and always somebody would fit with the patient. They'd fit
Jason Davis fit with me. I don't know why.
He liked you. It's true. He liked you. He
would
did
listen
admire,
to me.
He admired Drew, but he was drawn to you. He called you Waldo.
Yep.
You were Waldo.
He calls everybody names, but he listened to me.
But he did. But you did save his life.
Do you have in contact with Jason lately?
I see him from time to time. He's still alive. I don't know how he does it, but he's doing it.
Well, there's so many people that were on the show that are still alive. It's amazing. When Dennis Rodman was in North Korea, what were you thinking?
I was thinking there must be having a hell of a time. Can you imagine Rodman is the only American that's allowed in North Korea to hang out with young, and he's a recipient of Celebrity Rehab.
Celebrity Rehab guy's over talking to Kim Jong-un when no other Americans can.
And then, wait a minute, we're not finished. Phillips.
Mackenzie's doing great.
A counselor now.
Mackenzie Phillips is doing amazing, and she's saving lives.
Great.
I'm not saving lives. I'm shaping them with my grandchildren, which I'm really happy.
And your kids too.
My two children are doing. My son is getting married to his fiancée Carly Lewis, Nathan Fields,
awesome.
And they'll be getting married in Punta Mita in November.
Oh my gosh,
I'm very
how fun.
excited about that. Destination wedding.
So what? Are you still living over off the 405?
No, I'm.
Oh, you're so lucky.
Right.
Because the 405 is such a nightmare.
It is all traffic is a nightmare. I just really after I'm sorry I can't talk about Trump, but I'm going to. After Trump got into office, I just really want to move to Europe. I do. I can't do it.
They got traffic in Europe too, but
no, but I want to
she
be on a
lived in
sailboat.
She lived in a part of LA where you can't get there from here. You just can't.
I know.
To 405 in Mulholland. You might as well just live in Bakersfield. No one can go visit you.
Oh, this is worse. I'm living in Tarzana.
Oh, perfect.
Tarzan? No, that's not perfect.
Why not?
Because I'm living in this summer, for example, it's like 125 degrees
right.
on my street, and I'm out there trying to water some wilting avocado plant, and it's like, where am I? I used to have a breeze, and now I'm out here. But you know what? I'd live in a treehouse with my husband if he wanted me to, but he can't be listening because next I'll be living in Joshua
But that's
Tree.
why she was a trooper. She was going from the 405 in Mulholland to Hollywood and Vine every day.
That's true.
For your treatment.
That's amazing.
That's
Well, I
amazing.
really
Very
wanted it.
few
I
people
wanted
will
it.
do that.
Well, you helped me kick pills. That was the big deal. My thing was pills and sleeping pills, and I really do believe that I was
let's get at that a little bit.
hooked on those and not
you were
realizing
hooked.
it was
You were not
hooked.
realizing it. You were hooked. Remember that horrible withdrawal you went through? Yeah, it was
my God,
terrible.
I was
But
gonna kill
now,
myself.
do you understand that drug, those drugs are the hidden.
So powerful.
They're the hidden epidemic right now.
They are so
People are
powerful.
understanding about the opiates, right? But if you're going to take an opiate and die, it's because you're also taking a benzodiazepine. That's the combo that kills people.
And the benzos are all generic. They cost 10 cents. Kids eat them like candy.
Okay, so dude, how does your
Kids eat 'em like
how does
candy.
your narrative about the evil drug companies fit
Go
into
on,
that narrative?
go on, because I want to know
No.
what almost killed me.
OxyContin is an evil empire.
Why isn't Klonopin and Xanax and
Ativan.
which was Janice's? Why aren't
Mine
those
was
terrible?
Ativan. I was thinking
Well, they
Ativan
do come
and
up with new ones that they want to make money off.
They don't. You
Halcyon
don't
and
get
Ambien.
them.
Ambien's the worst.
You don't get them, Bob. You don't have to because you got all these other ones for nickels.
I know.
How does that fit your narrative about the drug companies?
It's only
causing
one drug
addiction?
company that's evil. It's called Purdue Pharma.
That's the OxyContin guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they knew what they were going to cause. They caused it. And they seem to be getting away scot-free because now that what OxyContin wrought on our society is now heroin addiction. So then a bunch of heroin addicts die. That's on them. That's their fault. Nothing to do with big pharma.
That is the narrative. Or not? How about my profession? It's rolling all this.
But even
We're not
driving
taking
in the
responsibility
car, you see like there's electronic billboards saying even if you're buzzed, you're going to get a
Buzz
DUI.
driving, yeah. Buzz driving. There was an estimate that 1 in 5 California drivers are either stoned or high.
For sure.
One
I
in
saw
5.
I saw higher numbers than that.
1 in
For
5.
sure.
Think about it. Of course.
Think about
Of
being
course.
high. For example, last night I was at
Doesn't
the
that
I
worry
went-
you a bit?
I know it's true.
I had a contact high last night at the Green Day concert. I'm stone cold sober. I've been sober since the show.
Yep.
I walked in and my friend Steven, I left my husband home. He wouldn't have liked it. It was too loud for him. But he did take me to an Eminem concert. Same thing. As soon as these rock stars come on stage,
Well, especially Eminem.
It's
There's a
like,
lot of weed at that show.
the whole entire Rose Bowl was a
Cloud.
nitrogen bomb of marijuana smoke.
How
And
about this? I played a show in Long Beach. Were you there, Nate, at that street scene? I was walking down the street before we played, just walking around this street scene in Long Beach. There were kids with pit bull dogs smoking weed, talking with cops, with Long Beach police cops, joking around in downtown
It's
Long
all
Beach.
legal. It's all legal.
legal.
It's the
all
LBC,
legal.
man. It's his medicine. You can't tell me about my
But
medicine.
what about cops just laughing and
It's
being
some-
friendly, community relations?
What are they going to do? What are they going to do?
I don't know. Everyone should get hooked on Hydrolyte because I've been sipping effervescent electrolyte tablets for the past 45 minutes, and I feel good.
Susan, anything on Facebook Live there?
This
No,
did
oh,
save
yeah, I
me.
do.
This
Hold
did
on.
save me when I was sick. I was drinking these
I'm
all the
telling you,
time.
I'm just completely dehydrated as a woman because I talk too much, and these really help saturate your
Yes, it will.
your quenching of thirst.
Let's go back in time to the great grand 1970s at the Fifth Studio 54. Was it as crazy as it seemed?
It was the
It was amazing.
it was the mecca of
See,
hedonism.
Drew doesn't like the 70s, and I kind of am
Why?
fond of the 70s.
Why they were amazing. Are you kidding? I was out every night partying on down and shooting Vogue covers during the day. I don't know how I did it, but
Was it fun though? Were
Have you
people
seen the-
friendly and
amazing.
kind?
It was kind to me because I had a job. I had a day job.
Have you seen the new show, The Deuce?
No, I got to watch it. I'm going to
Okay.
binge
That-
watch it.
That is what it felt like in the 70s. It's
The
an
Deuce?
exact.
I was alive in the 70s.
But
We
you
were
out,
the
You were in
70s.
Palm Springs or something,
I
right?
know, but I was alive.
I'm
Must
just
have
telling
been
you.
walking out there.
You go
Yeah.
look at that is an exact. New York was ground zero for what 70s was about and felt like. And
but
this
she
show's
was
all
there,
about
and
that.
so
Yeah, but
what
she
I'm
was- she
concerned
was
about
doing
were
I
people-
lived in Carnegie Hall, West 50 Sticks. It's just around the corner from West 54th. Can you imagine? I was like right there.
But you were
right by Carnegie Deli.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So were people nice though? Because Drew tends to say that people were very self-obsessed and manipulative.
I was in the most self-obsessed profession on earth, modeling and photography and fashion.
And?
we ran the world.
Were the Led Zeppelin guys nice?
Sorry?
Were the Led Zeppelin guys nice? Robert Plant and Jimmy Page.
I never had the good fortune to meet them, but I was.
I would imagine you met everyone.
No, I didn't meet. I might have seen them at parties, but I was weaned on Led Zeppelin.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm the music growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't put cigarettes out on your back or anything like
No.
they're alleged to have done.
No. Are you kidding me?
That's what I'm saying.
Being a germophobic supermodel, are you insane?
Did you know Gia?
I wrote the movie Gia for HBO and lived lavishly off HBO for 5 months in New York City with Jay McInerney.
Really?
Yeah. Did I know her? Yeah. Gia existed because back before Gia's time, there was only one ethnic model, exotic-looking model. That was
She
me.
was from Philadelphia, right?
She was. So she came along about 2 years after I kind of opened the market
Drew,
for
do you know the
exotic
story of her?
brunettes.
Okay. Well, she was the first junkie model.
She was for.
She was full-on junkie.
Well, wait a minute. She didn't
Oh,
start
she's gonna
out as a
defend her.
junkie. She's no.
What's
I am.
wrong with being a junkie?
Just a second. She graduated. It was a slow process, and you guys know it only too well. You know, the cocaine was free, and it was like everywhere. You know, models were given, opportunity to have champagne for
What
breakfast.
she's saying, Bob,
instead
is
of,
she was a junkie, but it wasn't her fault.
it wasn't her fault. No, she didn't start out as a junkie.
She wasn't born a junkie? How'd that work?
I think you are born.
I was born a
Well,
junkie.
I don't know. She was molested by her dad. She was beaten by her brothers, and
Nice.
she was, and she was discovered by Wilhelmina, my agent. So I knew her from. She had a rebellious attitude, but that kind of worked in the industry at the time because they were very looking forward to. I should teach this. Looking forward to seeing, kind of like a Pat Benatar type, being rock and roll at the same time. She had breasts. Most of the models didn't have breasts back in those days.
Yeah.
We later stuffed them in, jammed them in there, sideways. But it was a wonderful
Was she as
time.
bright, as shiny, as it's portrayed? She was just
Google,
like a phenomenon.
Before you call her, she was a junkie model.
I love
Google,
her.
wait,
this
Bob,
is
Bob,
with
Bob, 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 Bob.
adulation I
Come
say
here.
this.
Google her photographs in the beginning before you could see the degradation begin. I mean, after about 2 years of modeling, you start to model, you're a certain weight, then you get into cocaine, you gradually start thinning out. You could see it in the models today. You see, Gigi Hadid and Kendall Jenner don't look the same as they did like 2.5 years ago when they came on the scene, when they were robust, pudgy little girls, which actually registers on camera in a much finer way. And then all of a sudden, they start exercising too much. They're smoking too many cigarettes. They're going out. They're whatever they're putting up their nose or whatever they're drinking to make them laxatives. I don't know. They're all in a. Just they want to be the thinnest possible.
But then you were
and
a
the
big
magazines
part,
make them that way.
But you were a big part of the '90s modeling scene, and a
no.
lot of those
70s,
girls,
80s.
I know, but you were like
I was the queen
You were
by that
doing
time.
that show,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And those
What show?
Those
What show?
the
Top model.
Top
Oh, yeah,
model.
yeah.
So those girls
America's Next Top Model.
were drug addicts. Like a lot of them, I knew they were drug addicts.
What, the contestants on the show?
No, some on the show,
Well,
but some of the
I know who
leading
you know.
models of the '90s were junkie chic. Was what was in.
Heroin chic was
Heroin
a
chic.
big thing, but not the models of the '90s. Well, you're kind of marring it with certain images. There was Linda Evangelista, Cindy Crawford. There was Heidi Klum. There was Tyra Banks. These girls are well made, still like
Yeah, there's
working.
health. Those are health and wellness ones.
Yeah.
I'm talking about.
Well, that was just like, you take a picture of Gia, like, somebody snapped a picture of her like crunched over and actually on heroin. And then they blew it up propaganda and they scandalized it by saying now the modeling industry is heroin chic. We were not all junkies.
So you've been around it for your entire life.
Correct.
Would you say that there is a high addiction rate in the modeling profession, higher than in other entertainment.
I would say
industry.
addiction rate is the same everywhere. I would say it would be. I would say it would be everywhere only because.
Guess who it's highest
Just
in?
a second. Just a second. Look at Amy Winehouse. Look at music.
Look at
Jim
I'm not going to
Morrison.
defend musicians.
Well, you're on the scene of music. No,
but
there have been
doctors
cases.
are the highest addiction rate.
Oh, I bet.
Highest among compared to what?
Medical professionals.
Compared to what?
Everybody thinks it's models or
You
musicians.
guys, no,
it's
no.
medical professionals.
I'm sorry. I've seen dentists. I've been in 3 rehabs. I've seen. I was in a DUI class with Dr. Dre and Mr. Mitsubishi. It attacks everybody.
Dr. Dre.
Dr. Dre.
He's a doctor. See what I'm talking about?
Mitsubishi. Mr. Mitsubishi was grabbing my ass with his Coke bottle glasses. You know, he got arrested for driving 250 miles an hour down Sunset Boulevard in a Maserati.
Really? So just to get the public aware, a lot of times people think rock and rollers, models, that's where all
No.
the bad drug addicts are.
Addiction is addiction.
And it's not in the medical profession or the law profession.
Oh,
or
it's everywhere.
It's in the model.
Americans don't believe that.
It's
Oh, yeah.
in fashion. Well, look at what they're doing to anorexic models. You know, the girls. I wrote a book about it. Everything About Me is Fake and Imperfect, because you try to aspire. All young girls try to aspire to look like Cindy Crawford, but they don't realize that Cindy Crawford has a team of about 30 people. She's got expert lighting guys. She's got brilliant photographers. She's got, thank God for Botox. That's costly. She's got hair and makeup. She's got like everything at her fingertips. Cindy Crawford doesn't wake up looking like Cindy Crawford. A cover of American Vogue with a Cindy Crawford or a Kylie Jenner will be different because everything is so photoshopped and retouched and blown out. It doesn't look.
You know what I've noticed recently? I don't know. Really young girls get made up in what is supposedly this new beautiful fashion look, and they look way older.
They do.
Why is that?
Because of Kylie Jenner and the pop-up stores that she puts out and destroys the
Like, if
internet
you're
with a
21,
lip
you
kit.
want to look 32.
She sold over
It's weird.
$480 million selling
What?
lip kits.
What?
Kylie Jenner broke the internet.
Little kid?
I was in Woodland.
What is wrong with us, Drew?
You're,
Not me. I'm not buying them.
How do these little
No, but
kids
you know who
become
does.
billionaires?
but you know who does.
What are we doing wrong is what the question is.
What it is the tweens. They want to grow up to look like Kylie Jenner. Why? Because she's cool. Why? Because she dresses like a slut.
You wanna know
Why?
something
Because
frightening?
She overblows her lips. Wait, with 400 cc's of Botox going like this, Bob.
I don't even know who we're
Look,
talking about.
Look.
One
One
of
of
the
the Jenners.
I
Look
know.
at
Kardashians.
Look at me. They blow their lips up. They blow them up to inner tube, epic proportions.
older?
And then overline their lips because they're trying to get the blowjob lips. Yeah.
Oh my God in heaven.
So let me go back where I was about 8 minutes ago. Susan, any Facebook questions
Sorry.
for Janice?
Yes, it's somebody who wants to know what their mom should do about managing her will so that her addict daughter, her sister, who's in jail, will be
Taken care of.
incentivized to get sober.
Right. So you've got to talk to an attorney about having maybe even a hired conservator, sort of someone to go, someone to
sponsor.
Somebody to manage this when you're gone, or have very specific sort of triggered access to money. But the problem is, how do you monitor that? There's no one there to monitor.
She's
I
like a
I
conservator.
heard a new thing
Conservator.
that Shaq said is the coolest thing. He told his kids, unless you graduate from college, you don't get a dime.
I
from
love
me.
that.
Well, we said that too.
Even
Oh,
if,
yeah.
even
I
if
love that.
even in the will,
We
if
did
you don't
too.
graduate from
Oh,
college, you
none
don't
of them we
get
say.
a dime.
We
from
went
me.
way beyond
We said they
that.
couldn't touch
What
the
did you
money.
do? What did you guys do?
We had like the graduate school they had to go to.
No,
but-
they had to graduate from college.
Stages of being
Yeah,
involved
yes.
in the will.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
if they died before they were 30,
Yeah.
and they didn't go to school, they couldn't have the money till they were 30.
Well, they'd be dead. Oh, you'd be dead.
no, we would,
no,
but they
we-
wouldn't be able
they'd
to
be dead.
touch the money till they were 30 because we figured, the 20s are kind of.
Unless they went to graduate school.
Well,
I
you
think we
guys
said.
are
It's
like
not crazy
you
like
guys
that.
are
No,
like
we just had to
royals.
graduate
That's
from
what the
college.
Queen established on Harry and Wills. You
So
don't get a
what? So
dime.
this mom is concerned with that. She's concerned. I might die. I have this money. It's gonna go to my child, what do I do? That's a really technical question.
Donate it to the cat.
And then she said, get tested how often, when to
Oh,
pay
I don't
her
think
money.
you can trust drug tests for will money.
No, you
No,
really
no,
need,
no.
you need to get a
Well, there
conservator.
should be a-
You need to
there's
get
a lot of
person,
money,
a
apparently.
conservator. You got to get a conservator to manage it. A professional
If she wants
conservator.
that money, she's gonna want to get sober.
This is the thing that drives me
Do
crazy.
do they have like sponsors, conservators?
No,
That would be good.
that'd
Someone
be
should
a
do that.
boundary problem.
Someone should do that. That's a good
Nah,
business.
that's
Bob Forrest,
Well,
that's a
lot-
good business.
No, lawyers do it, and lawyers do the right thing
Yeah.
sometimes.
Hopefully,
I
a
was gonna
sober
say
one.
a lot of times. Sometimes.
No, a lot of conservatives have a good. That you have to find the ones that have real good understanding of mental health, because there are a lot of those out there that have that. And then
I bet
get
you
a
this is a
good.
bigger problem than that. I bet you that's the first question anybody's dared ask. But
That's
I know
a great
lot
question.
of parents are worried about.
What's her name?
What if something happened to me and this kid gets $1 million?
I think it was Kayla.
Right?
Oh, Sammy.
Used
That
to
was
see it at Lost and Seen
Sammy-
back in the day.
Sammy, if you're listening-
all the time.
Sammy, if you're
the
listening, we're not making light of your predicament right now, but that's a really important question because I, as a mother, would absolutely think like that. I'm not leaving them like a ton of money, but they'll get parts of my legacy that is quite valuable. I think listening to what Drew just said really makes a point by
Yeah.
finding a good conservator through an
Yeah,
attorney.
get a conservatorship and get a good estate lawyer who understands about things. Mark Garrett is always asking questions like this. A good attorneys, they're always involved in this kind of stuff.
Who would you hire? Would you go to Zoom, Legal Zoom? How would you find this attorney?
I don't. How do you find the attorney?
How do you find an attorney?
You get an
Well,
estate attorney, somebody
an
who manages
attorney.
estate.
Estate.
Yeah.
We have to help this woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but but you shouldn't be ashamed. I don't know. I just don't know about all
Well,
this.
the one thing
I
that
can
Drew-
tell
Well, Drew
America.
just said an
I
estate
have-
attorney.
But I'm the one that's seen what happens when you don't plan that your kids are going to get this money. I've seen dynasties spent on drugs.
Of course.
And rehab and frivolous living.
Of course.
And so these people sweat and tears, 40
life.
years of building a business to create wealth for the next generation. They just blow it on drugs and rehab and living high on the
That's
hog.
horrible. But
Right?
it's life.
I mean, this is common.
Like you, Bob?
I did it.
He's trans.
I
Sorry.
tried not to,
I
but
know,
it's
I get
kind
it.
of hard.
But that's the point. That you set up a trust. You can't really trust that the addict is going to go by, have any rules, even when they get
So what drives me crazy is when we tell parents, Bob and I often do, that you need to get a conservatorship for this kid, whether you're dead or not. They need a conservator for whatever the situation is. Oh, they'll be too upset. I don't want to upset them. I don't want to ruin our relationship. It's like then they're going to die.
No, it's
then they're going to die.
absolutely part of
So
it.
don't worry about ruining the relationship.
Right.
Do what you need to do.
Right.
I just wanted to talk about the other people that were in treatment. So with Jason Wahler, we saw last night. He's doing great.
Jason's
amazing.
phenomenal.
Doing great.
I never
Amazing.
knew him when he was like out in the town. I used to see him around in nightclubs and things, and he was pretty wild. But
Yep.
I never.
How about Jeremy London? Anybody? I talked to him about a year
No.
or
I
so
talked
ago.
to him one time. Yeah,
What's
he was
he
trying
doing?
to help.
Great. He seemed great.
He was trying to help people. There's
He was
a
doing
certain
some
stage.
movies, too.
Did you go through it too? There's a certain stage at about 2 years sobriety. You just want to help all your friends get sober.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
it never
I
goes
did it for
very
about
well.
6 or 7. I had so many sponsees. So I had about 30, and I was like, I'm spending all my days just
Trying to
taking
save
care
these
of them,
people.
and I'm depleted.
Rachel?
Yeah.
Anybody
I
have
don't
contact
know.
with Rachel? Uchitel?
On Facebook, I do.
Good. She's doing good. Yes.
I haven't heard from her lately.
She's back in New York, I think.
She had a kid.
She had a baby.
You know
and
that.
She. I
a
heard
lot,
good.
of, lot
Seemed
of
good.
pictures from the beaches.
She
of
does like to
faraway
flaunt that
places.
hot body.
And then Leif. Any contact with Leif? Anybody?
I was supposed to play a casino with him or something.
I saw him at.
Like, remember that? What happened?
Nate's shaking his head.
went
I don't
with
know.
me. I was supposed to go sing with Leif's band at a casino in what's the town that they allow gambling? Gardena.
like the
Pomona.
the bicycle club or something.
Yeah.
And what about Frankie?
Frankie, I think, is doing. Oh, I know she's around. She's around. I've had some contact with her. Which seems to be good.
Frankie, if you're listening, shout out to you.
Frankie's
Frankie
good.
Leif.
Are you still friends with anybody from Celebrity Rehab? That's
Just-
one of the
just
questions on
Penskes.
Facebook. Well, besides that, sorry.
Jason Wahler.
Jason Davis, I see, but I just do run into like people, and once I have done Celebrity Rehab, and it's just it's a camaraderie that it's a very warm, oozy feeling because in 28 days you bear your soul in there, and you either get it or you don't, and so well. Thank you, Drew.
And I was
Wasn't
thinking,
Eric on your season or no?
Eric
Eric Roberts. No.
Roberts.
Was he? Was he in there?
He was there. He and I,
He was there.
I have a tickle in my
They didn't get along.
It wasn't
remember?
on your list. It wasn't on
Eric
your list.
Roberts and I really didn't get along because he was like when the cameras weren't on, he would call me the C word and like try to aggravate me and get me going, for cameras. He just really tried to, it was like really ugly. So I avoided him like the plague, and he avoided me because we were just two personality. You can't expect everyone to love one another.
Right.
No, no.
Kumbaya rehab. No,
And
the
back
two
to
of us were toxic.
And I'm just thinking about Rodman again. Was Heidi in that group too? Heidi
No,
Fleiss?
that was a different one.
No, but
That was
where
Tom
was
and
Rodman
she
there?
in it? Was she on your show?
Was Rodman in your group?
No.
No, it was Rodman, Tom Sizemore, Heidi.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my God.
Yeah, that was
Well,
a
and,
hell of a-
Mindy.
You know where we had
I'm
the graduation because they were
Yeah,
all
yeah.
so negative
Oh, my
in a
God.
mortuary.
Oh, that's funny.
That was
That's
a good
really funny.
idea.
And a mausoleum.
I know. Ooh.
Yeah.
And
Shudder.
And Mindy was in that group.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't know Mindy.
Mindy
She
McCready.
killed herself.
Oh yeah, that was terrible scene.
Horrible scene.
Yeah, but like I can't believe we did this TV show and like there's like one clip of Mindy having a epileptic fit, and she's foaming at the mouth, and I was like, Drew, you really encapsulated like both of you guys serious stuff on television.
that's that's withdrawals.
I mean,
Yeah.
my withdrawal was on the third day, as Drew brought up.
You're
I
lucky you
went
didn't
in-
have a seizure because
Oh.
benzo withdrawals, you have seizures.
I just didn't know what was happening to me because I wasn't on the pills and I was walking around and I'm sober and I was like, oh God, and I just really meant it.
I know.
Ugh.
It was terrible.
bet.
Climbing
Well,
the
but
walls.
the people who succeeded or are in a way better place than before we
Oh.
met them
Oh,
are
my
the
goodness.
people that went to aftercare for months and months and sometimes a year.
Well, Eric did a lot
Davis.
of good. No, Eric did a lot of.
You did, Davis. Your group was the most.
Yeah, Eric did a lot of good aftercare. Eric
I'm
Roberts.
starting to realize. I
never saw him at Bob's
I
place.
know.
He was there.
Here's what I just realized when you said that because I put it together. So Eric wouldn't go to groups because he didn't want to
See Janice.
see
No.
Janice.
Yeah.
Right. So I
Probably.
saw him one-on-one, and we scheduled him to be later in the day.
But he did a lot of good work with you.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It was good.
And
Rachel
Rachel kept coming
everybody's
back.
got their baggage.
Yeah.
Everybody does.
Right.
Everyone that's listening, you have baggage.
But it's something about community and attachment that sobriety
That's
is.
what I mean about,
it
like,
really
warm and
is.
fuzzy
it's
feelings.
not about an event or an insight. It's about community and dedication to that connection.
Well, I think where did you guys get the inspiration for the show to begin with? Bob?
Well, no, it was John Irwin came to me, and
John Irwin.
I was, oh, it's interesting. No way.
You'll like
Impossible.
you'll like why though.
Irwin's genius.
You'll like why. When remember when they used to pick on Britney Spears and Lindsay Lohan,
Yes.
and there was another girl too. There's a third one that's kind of faded away. There was
Paris
another-
Hilton.
Oh yeah,
No.
Paris Hilton. And
No,
they
it
would
was
pick on
also,
them and make fun
yeah.
of them, and the Jay Leno would make fun
Oh,
of them
they were
every
like
night.
fodder
and
for
it
everybody
was
just to
mean.
go
They
after.
were children. It was horrible.
I agree.
It was the beginning of the ugliness of America.
Jamie Foxx
right?
did it to poor Miley Cyrus in the beginning.
Yeah, so I got angry about that watching Jay Leno one night where, when Britney Spears had shaved her head, it was obvious she was psychotic. She was
Exactly.
having an episode. And just what the media did was so
It was-
ugly.
And then don't
the
forget
next
the
night,
paparazzi was making so much money off the pictures.
I know. Well, KTLA Channel 5 News broadcast live from the place she was shaving her head, if you remember. They cut into regular programming to
This
show
is
a
Americana.
19 or 20-year-old girl having
in a-
a mental health breakdown and exploit it for
Pop culture.
Pop culture, right? So Jay Leno had a punchline about her shaving her head or whatever, and it made me so angry.
What did he say?
It was just a punchline, and then she shaved her head. He
So
reminds me of Ed McMahon. He's
So-
not a
Yeah.
comedian. He's not Johnny Carson.
Yeah,
So I'm
right.
sitting in my
So
office.
I come in the next morning to work.
I'm sitting in my office, and he blows in, and he sits down in the seat.
Spewing.
We have a seat where the patient sit, and I was sitting in my seat. And what'd you say? What was your
I said, we
perception?
got to do a TV show
what he
about
said.
addiction.
That's exactly what he
because
said.
America is so stupid, it doesn't believe anything it doesn't see on television.
And he said,
Look at our president. Hello. Hello.
and they said we have to show how sick people are, how hard they work,
And what they went through as children.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the things that
And
go on in rehab.
I
We
was
just need
stunned.
to film rehab.
This is
That was an epiphany moment.
But I was stunned. I said, Bob, somebody had approached me, if you really think this is the right thing to do, I will go forward with this. And he goes like this. He goes, yes, and he jumps out. He walks out. And he goes, we got to do it. We got to do
So
it.
But it
rock
wasn't
star.
going to be
Bob Forrest,
celebrities. It
rock
wasn't
star.
going to be
No,
celebrities.
real people.
It was going to be real people. But then, what was the problem with real people? It was.
Well,
gonna
we
be
did it
so
with real people
expensive.
eventually.
Not in the beginning.
No one
though.
liked real people. Oh, we're such a celebrity focused.
I think it might have been VH1 was interested in celebrities, much as anything. But
you know, if a celebrity sneezes, you.
It's a part of the culture.
Yeah.
America's
People-
obsessed with fame and drugs.
But after I've done this show, I can honestly say thousands of people have come up to me and said, like, you've saved my life by just going on that show. Thank you.
it did.
You know?
It did what we intended it to do.
You really helped a lot of people.
Yeah, it was what we intended to do.
I wish, if I had to go, I didn't know that much about television. Now I do. But what I would have done is, how you guys got the payments through the shooting of it?
Right.
I would have said the payments need to be spread out over 6 months, so you have to go to aftercare to get your payments.
That's very smart.
That would have been smarter.
All right, we got to take a little
I would
break.
have sued
Okay.
you, but it would have been
The
smarter.
great, the great Janice Dickinson is here. I want to talk to you about Ram Dass when we get back. All right,
I'm
we'll take
ready.
a little break. Right back. Well, one of the great parts about working in recovery is seeing former patients successfully move on. And I've had patients that have come up to me years later and shake my hand and say, you know what, sometimes people are kicked out of treatment. And many of these folks move on to become mental health professionals themselves. And of course, the field of psychology is vast. The need for competent practitioners is huge. If you're considering this rewarding career, I urge you to consider the California School of Professional Psychology at Alliant University. Now, I've known them for a long time at Alliant University. I've spoken at their past events. It was founded in 1969. It's boasts an alumni network of nearly 50,000 people worldwide. And Alliant has fostered many of today's mental health pioneers, authors, and advocates. CSPP at Alliant University hosts both on-ground and online programs in business psychology, marriage and family therapy, clinical counseling. They also offer APA-accredited doctoral programs in clinical psychology that can allow for specialization in child psychology, clinical forensic psychology, and integrated psychology. And the faculty is crazy. It's made up of leaders and historical figures like Abraham Maslow, Carl Rogers, Viktor Frankl, some of the true fathers of modern psychology. For more information, and I worked alongside of these students as well, by the way, in the clinical setting, as well as having lectured at the institution. So for more on the California School of Professional Psychology, CSPP, at Alliant, click the Alliant banner on our website or visit Alliant, ALLIANT.edu, alliant.edu. I want to thank our friends at Alliant and
Wow.
also our friends at Hydrolite. Don't forget them. Hydrolite, you can get a 30% off discount by clicking on the banner.
Probably why I didn't die of pneumonia.
on
I took that
doctor.com.
every day.
You just
Janice on crack.
DRDRWHY and you get 30% off.
So Ram Dass, you
Ram
wanted
Dass.
to
So,
talk about?
so first of all, I met his niece on Friday night.
Oh,
his
really?
niece is an agent out here.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, isn't that something?
Who's Ram Dass?
Ram Dass was a spiritual teacher. He's actually like a crazy guy from Brooklyn, right? He was from Brooklyn.
Well,
And he
it's,
became a
Another-
spiritual teacher, musician. He had a lot to do with self-realization
Okay.
fellowship out in Malibu.
so there's a documentary out now called Dying to Know about Leary and Ram Dass. And they reunite them together and they film them talking to each other just before Leary dies. And in the documentary, you need to watch it because you see how severely mentally ill Leary was. I didn't realize.
Oh, Dr. Leary, I knew him, and he was
crazy.
out
He
there.
was bipolar.
And he was alcoholic.
And it goes into that too. He
Oh,
almost,
Don't you think?
Oh, God,
Oh,
but
for
he was
sure.
on
no,
acid,
listen,
acid.
Bob, there's one segment where his ex-wife leaves him, one of his 5 wives, manic
Mm-hmm.
as hell. The third wife, she says, our addiction got so bad, I almost died, I had to leave. And he kept going. I mean, it's severe. And his pupils are pinned the whole time he's doing this doc. So
Might
I'm
be.
wondering if he's on
Might
something.
be.
So anyway, his severe mental illness was made apparent in that film. And then Ram Dass, I thought, well, at least the guy's doing good stuff, and
He's a
sort
cool
of
guy.
Yeah, he's a cool guy, and he had
And
some,
he was part of the original Harvard
Wait,
gang.
finish.
had some interesting insights from LSD and stuff. But then I thought, when do these guys really change? Like, okay, that's an old story. That's a rich kid who becomes an ascetic. Okay, all right, rich kid becomes a monk. Okay,
So-
that's an old story.
Okay.
Why? What's new? What are we going to do new? And I started thinking that hallucinogen therapy may be a thing. It may help people with certain mental illnesses. We just got to figure this out.
Should talk to Rocky.
Is he using that stuff? Is he advocating? No, I mean, is he
He's a
advocating?
psychiatrist. I don't know
No,
what his
I think there's
what his views are.
there's research, particularly in death and dying. There's some good evidence that.
Well, yeah.
Let's go see
I'm
Flatliners.
all for that when I'm dying. But one of the things they are working on is the Wounded Warriors are doing for PTSD,
MDMA.
and it is working.
MDMA.
And it
With
is
acid?
working.
Yeah, MDMA.
MDMA.
Is that
Low
what
dose,
that
low
does
dose.
is a serotonin drug, isn't it?
Well,
MDMA.
but that's not saying much. I mean,
What is a serotonin over-the-counter thing that I can buy that doesn't affect my? There is none.
exercise.
I know.
Stay with exercise.
Coffee,
Yeah, coffee.
Coffee.
sex,
My favorite.
Sex. Good.
chocolate.
Yeah, those are all good.
Those are all the good ones.
No, but like
but I don't know, I
always
just-
fantasize about Molly and
Well, I was a
Fucking
part of
all the time.
I was a part of seeing Ram Dass. I saw him several times. He played music. He'd teach meditation at Self-Realization Fellowship
Yeah.
in Malibu. And I was going there one time. I got into it when I had about 7-8 years sobriety. And I because you go on different journeys, right?
Oh, I bet. I would have
And
loved to
so
have been
I'm-
a fly on the
so
wall
I'm
for
there.
years for that one.
So I'm there becoming, like following Self-Realization Fellowship. And I got there late on a Sunday morning and I had to park way far away. And I was walking through the parking lot and it was just Porsche after Range Rover after Porsche
Yeah,
after
see.
Range Rover. And I thought, these motherfuckers aren't going to South Central to spread the good news about
but,
God.
but you're sort of making my point.
So go ahead. So you got to and you met Ram Dass.
So I had been into it for about 2 years. And in that church and that day, I was disillusioned. I was like, look at all these rich people. Like, where are the poor people?
But you're living in living in one of the most expensive cities on earth, and you're gonna be
No,
running-
but I think Bob's
But
on-
I get spiritual teachers aren't the real true gurus of India are going to the most impoverished places of India and asking nothing in return and teaching and giving.
Well,
and,
that's how
right?
Kabbalah got started from that guy with the center, Eitan and his Kabbalah center.
But I think the missing piece, what I was thinking is the other, being of service to others and figuring things out for others and being
Instead of an exchange.
instead of you got to turn in a little bit and to be ascetic. All right,
Well,
but the-
does that
but
go
the
hand in
idea-
hand with psychotropics? Is that what you're saying? Like the
I guess I started thinking about all this because our country is so spiritually in
so-
trouble right now,
it's so
and I have to
wrong.
read Bob's Facebook posts every day, and they hurt my soul. They're so negative and angry.
I get really negative, and then I post pictures of the baby. Like I'm I'm
that's,
a round and
there's a
round
good
guy.
balance there. though.
And it just feels like I don't know. I feel like a new synthesis is coming. Something synthetic from all this has got to come together.
I think social media
I'm
does
not sure. So I'm
something
thinking
negative.
a lot about it all the time.
No,
so.
but
You guys are way too
How
in your
about
heads.
this? How about this? Steve Jobs didn't allow his children to be on iPads.
yeah.
How about that? How about the people
Makes
who
sense.
really know
It
how
makes sense. It
addictive
eats your
and
brain.
profound these
I don't
technology
touch
is?
them. I'm not
Those
hooked on them like
people
you
don't
people.
allow their children on it.
I totally
What-
agree. I agree with them.
Drew doesn't think it matters.
I don't. Right. I don't disagree with them. I just think that I'm sure there were people that didn't let people drive cars either. I mean, this is
No, but
humans
These are children's developing brains,
But
Drew.
see,
I
then
understand.
watch going to a
Listen,
dinner. You
do
can
you
even
understand
see
it-
it in restaurants. Hang on, when you see these children at the restaurants,
I get it.
and they're texting each other by
Yep.
having conversation
there's
with
problems.
with their thumbs.
I'm not
And
an
they get carpal
apologist.
tunnel by the time they're 12 or 13, and then it's by the
Here's-
time they're
here-
19.
you know what?
There's the art of conversation
Here's
is
the deal.
dead.
Here's what I'm thinking. It just came together for me a little bit. I'm not an apologist for these things. Of course, there's lots of trouble with it. But I think that one of the biggest problems of our time right now is hubris. And declaring something as so is something I'm extremely, I don't want to do that unless I really know. The things I really know, and I'm happy to share that. But everything else is hubristic right now.
The advent of technology has
And
destroyed everything.
I will just remind you that the French said that about the advent of the novel.
That's
When
true.
the novel was invented,
That's
it
true.
was going to destroy the children. And I just don't know. I don't know enough. It's hubristic to say that's going to
I
be the
think it's
destruction.
got to be
I don't
destroyed.
know.
No, I don't.
brain
I'm not
cells.
saying it's the destruction. I'm saying it's creating this divisive.
No.
It
really
certainly
is.
stops- it certainly
really
stops
is.
sleep patterns.
People don't know
Yes.
how to talk.
the blue screen.
Yes.
Here's the thing.
The art of conversation. I just said that.
But he's using me as an example, and I
Oh.
know I've had these opinions
really
my
not.
whole life.
I'm really
No,
not.
but I'll give you an example.
Go ahead.
I've had these opinions my whole life. I had to meet with people and or play concerts to say them.
Yeah.
I had to do human things to say them.
Why don't you
Now
go-
all I got to do is find a good picture of Trump and say "fuck Trump," and boom, it's out there. Right? That's what the whole country is doing, Drew. And they think somebody's listening. That's my funny thing. Is Louis C.K. has a good bit about being at his children's horror, this is the 8 years old ballerina performance, and all the parents are videotaping it, and he's thinking, what the fuck are they videotaping for? Nobody's gonna watch it. Are you really gonna sit and watch your child's 8-year-old ballerina recital?
Well, it was funny.
And he said no, because so he talked to a dad, and he said no, they posted it on their Facebook. He goes, nobody watches those fucking videos.
No.
Funny though. They're funny.
Yeah, but
Only mothers and grandmothers.
listen, the college football television broadcast yesterday, one of the announcers made them play back a touchdown because he goes, look at this. Look at what I just saw. Nobody noticed it. He goes, watch the guy get into the end zone, and you see these guys in their 30s, they're cops and security guards, with their hands over their head making the touchdowns and screaming in joy. And he goes, look over here to the right. And over the right is a 19-year-old with her phone taking a picture of the touchdown
There you go.
with a blank face. And he goes, there it is.
I mean, it's become, the apparatus has become an extension.
Well,
But I think we're
just
getting
think,
away
I
from
think it's
the
dangerous.
human connection.
yes, for sure. And I think we need to.
Go back to letter writing.
No, it's just our education. We need to use all this material, this technology, to really educate ourselves. We need to be thoughtful and thinking about things, because really behind all of this is a lack of understanding, a lack of education. Just even what I said about the novel. How many people know that history?
No,
I mean,
know.
that history's
That's because
there.
you're well read.
I think but we don't have to read anymore. You can use this thing, listen to podcasts.
You didn't really used to need. You didn't
It
have
starts
to go
with
to
tweens.
college
It
to
starts
know
with
a lot of stuff.
tweens, and it starts with being popular on social media. That's
Which is a
where
waste
it's
of
all
time.
started.
Yes, it's a waste
they
of
can't
time.
stop.
I
They're
know.
killing themselves over it.
I understand. Believe me, I understand. But I don't know.
difference-
Listen, I'm an optimist. He's a pessimist. That's the
Yes.
difference here. And I think
I like that.
I think a new synthesis will come out of that. I think, there's a famous philosopher right now, Hegel, that said that's kind of how history moves along, through these opposites coming in conflict, then synthetically coming together. I think we're in a big synthetic mess right now.
100%.
And
You're
something's got to
so
kind
right.
of come out of it. And Trump, whether you like him or hate him or whatever, at least it's a but listen, but at least it's a shaking up, so a new synthesis can
I bet
develop.
you Janice has met Trump before.
I have. I stole his limousine.
But has he ever hit on you?
He did say
I told
with
ya.
Melania at the Vera Wang fashion
Oh
show.
my God!
Those have got to be the greatest legs I've ever seen on a broad in my life.
I was shell shocked. I felt raped.
That's who's president of the United States.
I mean,
Drew.
the guy, but look
again,
how he's, like I said to Susan
ju-
walking in, Susan Pinsky walking in today. I said, you're in great shape, but the way I said it to Susan, wasn't as just as obtrusive and vulgar as Trump going up to the president of France's wife and raising her hand when he initially meets the first woman of France going, you're in great shape. I mean, it's just...
I'm not an apologist.
Feels good to me.
I'm not an apologist.
Yeah.
Trust me.
So
I mean, you're having a feeling of this synthetic
it's
generation.
a synthesis.
A
Something's
synthetic
happening.
Something's
poly-
happening.
it's like-
Something's changing.
It
Something's
is,
happening.
but
It's not going to go one way or the other.
You
It's
need to
going to come
pinpoint
together.
this, doctor. You need to be a specialist. And
What if it
Thinking,
What if it turns into a authoritarian government?
They just went through that. I was told how to think, do you hear what they're doing in Canada? They have a law coming, or they've tried to make a law, where you have to refer to people by their preferred gender pronoun, or it's against the law. If you offend them, you could not only go to jail, you could be financially encumbered. And because they're so careful to make sure that every gender is represented, they have something like 150 different ones,
Okay, so-
including 75 Z categories, like Zed, Zitz, Zaz, Zuzu, Zola, Zuba,
And Za.
and Za, Zay, and it's like, and to make sure that even people with gender fluidity are covered.
Stop
if you
wait,
hang on.
You have to put a pin in this. You've got to explain to everybody what you're talking
Okay,
about
I
because
will.
you're
I
going
will.
deep.
I will say, even those with gender fluidity, if they change their mind in 5 minutes and they just become a Z for a Za, and you may use the wrong one, you're guilty for using the wrong one. So we're talking about how people identify themselves with their pronouns, their gender identity.
For
That's
example,
all.
For example,
it's not just a
You can
binary
be bi.
world.
You can be bi.
No,
and
you
then
can be
you're
they,
straight.
it, zed, za, zoo, z.
This is what they're calling them
not
in
that's
Canada?
sexual identity, gender identity.
But-
your gender, and you can have all these different pronouns to refer to your gender that are permutations on something.
are you trying to tell us all something that we didn't know about?
You didn't know about this?
About you?
Yes, I'm a Zed. From now on, if you don't call me Zed, I'm going to sue you.
Okay, well that's how bad it's gotten.
I'm going to call my Canadian lawyers.
That's pretty bad. Well, you just raped me by saying that.
But anyway, the point is that is a kind of government that I don't want anything to do with.
That's why I'm moving to France.
And you don't believe that social media and the narcissism of our culture has created that kind of thinking, rather than you need to learn how to be resilient, and if people don't like you, that's fine. Fuck them.
It's
you know what I mean?
I can't point at one thing and go, that caused that. It's too weird.
I can tell you by being the recipient of millions of haters and millions of lovers, it's like whatever, whatever is going on at the time, It's bad. I mean, you can actually, if you're not stable and solid, you can actually become so, go into such a, what do you call it, Drew? When someone is so bullied, and like subscribe.
Traumatized. You're
I think Trump is traumatized right now.
Could be.
I think that's why he went to the
Trump
Democrat.
has frontal lobe dementia.
No.
Yes, look at the cadence
he's
of
way
his speech.
smarter. He's way smarter than you.
He's
people
got
give him
frontal
credit
lobe
for.
dementia.
He's
You think
way
he's
smarter.
smart? I think he's crazy.
Frontotemporal dementia is a little bit different. But let's take a call here. Let's take a call.
There you go.
I don't see the name because I don't have the screen up here. Who's our caller? Give me a name.
I can't see it.
I can't see it.
Alyssa.
Alyssa, what's going on, Alyssa?
You there?
Yes. Hi.
Hey,
I
Alyssa.
was wondering how you feel about long-term methadone maintenance treatment.
Well, we're not super. Bob and I are both. You've heard him talk. If you listen to this podcast, you've heard him go off
When I
about
heard
Suboxone.
that youthful, exuberant voice, I would not want a young person to be on it,
Right.
giving up hope.
That's right.
But I also don't want a young person to die of Oxycontin or fentanyl or whatever.
That's exactly the conundrum. And so methadone, there's better alternatives to meth. One thing Bob and I do believe is that Suboxone is a better alternative to methadone, because methadone, once you're on it, you really can never get off. And if you're on enough of it not to do drugs, you usually have to take so much that you really can't function
and you
very
meet
well.
some of the nicest people in town.
But if you're in stage with no hope and no resources and no family and maybe polydiagnosed, sure, if that
Wait,
works for you.
can we ask, are you asking for yourself or a friend?
No, myself. I have 23 months in a methadone maintenance program, and I was an addict for 10 plus years. So after trying many, many different things, including Suboxone, methadone is the only thing I found that works.
Okay. How much do you take?
I'm on 130 milligrams.
See, most people above
I've been on that.
most people above 80 milligrams have trouble functioning and get lots of side effects.
You just open up a Pandora's box, and if you can just bear with us for a few minutes. I was on methadone in the 80s and 90s. The maximum dose you could get was 60.
Oh, yeah.
Why is it now 130?
Because it works better.
I was smoking crack and doing heroin.
Right.
On top
Ouch.
of it.
That's
Not
right.
funny.
The higher dose works better, but the problem with the higher
But
dose
fun.
is you get sweating in your hands, you get asexual, sexual functioning is gone, a lot of fatigue, sleep disturbances. Do you have
that's
any,
my problem.
Any of that stuff?
Yeah, maybe it's methadone.
Any of that stuff,
Yeah.
Alyssa?
A lot of those things,
Yeah.
and a lot of them, it's kind of a draw. What would I rather? Would I rather go back to the lifestyle that I used to live, or
Right.
I
No.
mean,
No. But you can, try taper
Is
that's
off.
what
there-
it
is there
really
another
comes
road?
down to for me.
Well, the question is there another road?
I think you need a
Right.
really good psychopharmacologist to help you out with that.
Well, but she's already on the methadone now.
Yeah, but I think
What was
she
the
should go
highest
to a
dose?
pro.
But wait, what was the highest dose of Suboxone you were on per day?
I took the 8 milligrams 3 times a day.
Wow.
So that was the highest.
24. That's a lot.
You can take more, but
32 is about as much
32
as
is
you can
it.
go.
all right. Well, listen. Did you ever go somewhere for like a year and try to get sober, like away in a sustained environment?
No, I never had the opportunity to.
See, that's-
I've been to. I'm on state-funded insurance, so
Right.
I've been to many
Yeah.
bottom of the barrel rehabs
Yep.
and
Where do you live? What state do you live in?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania is that's a rough state too.
Listen, I hats off to you for finding a way to survive with this condition and with the resources that are available. Bottom line. Bottom
Yeah.
line.
Go to meetings.
And you never know what's going to happen next.
Okay?
Sure.
All right, Alyssa.
Yep.
That's good. Good
Thanks
on you.
for
Well
calling in and
yeah,
bringing
take
that
care of
up.
yourself, honey.
All right, who's the other caller there?
But Drew, I'm trying to say it was federally regulated. Who upped the dose?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's a weird thing. Didn't it have to go through all kinds of
sure.
bureaucracy?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm sure it was the medical system, the people that run.
You know, the maximum you could get if you failed time and time again to stay off of other drugs, they still was only 60 milligrams that you
I
get.
don't know about this. I'm married to a retired expert in the field that probably wrote more papers than Freud did on this subject. So
of methadone?
Of all of it.
Of methadone?
He's like the doctor in the big book.
On methadone?
Everything.
Because methadone is its own thing. It's its own interesting thing.
You can get him off the record,
Okay. All right.
and ask him about these things.
Okay.
Well, the only thing is that Suboxone is just a new version of methadone that you can get from a pharmacy rather than go to a methadone clinic.
See, methadone is federally regulated. It has its own sort of advocacy.
Can
culture.
I tell you a funny
It
story?
also has this is just kind of fantasy that it's still methadone.
Oh
yeah.
no! Do you remember Mike Starr's detox?
Yes.
Remember his detox?
I remember
that was methadone. That was 20
methadone.
milligrams.
Oh my gosh!
And that was
20 milligrams.
methadone, having smoked crack all the time, flushing the methadone out of his system. But let me tell you something
How
funny
long
about
does it take
methadone.
methadone to get out of your
6
system?
months.
Jesus.
It takes a long
See,
time.
I didn't believe you, Drew, when I asked you about sleeping pills.
Yeah.
You told me, you kept telling me, "Oh, I'm going to
year
give you
a month for every year
He said
you're
a
on
month,
it.
and then after a month, I called him. He says, "Well, I started seeing you." He said 6 months, and he goes, "I said it was after 6 months." I was like, "When am I going to start feeling better?" You said 3 years. I said you said I couldn't tell you before because I really wanted you to get sober.
Yeah. What I say is also let's get through the first 6 months. At 6 months,
you'll be better. You'll be better than you were.
But
3 years is really a good thing to say.
But listen, what I said was, at the end of the first year, you'll go, wow, I really was not normal that whole year. I feel a lot better.
Right.
And you'll do the same thing at the end of 3 years.
And is that the same for methadone, though? Is it the same type
no,
of
it's
kick?
a little different. It's a little
Methadone,
different. Yeah, it's different.
it's all these synthetic things are different. But let me tell you something about the methadone clinic. So in the 80s, when I first became a touring musician and I was a heroin addict and I was nervous, like you couldn't find heroin all over America like you can now.
Right.
This old junkie musician told me, just every time you need to get dope, get
Go
up
to
in
the
the
methadone
morning,
clinic.
go to the methadone clinic. That's where they keep all the drug addicts. You want to find heroin?
That's hilarious.
You go to
Yeah,
the
the methadone alleys. Well, those.
yeah, the methadone alleys. Drew, it's
Bob,
like
you're an
you've been
original.
there.
Well, I've seen them.
It's unbelievable. That's where
original.
all the drug addicts
Yeah.
in a town collect about 8 or 9 in the morning. The perfect time.
Didn't you write a book with Judith Regan? Did you write a book with her?
I've written 3, yeah.
With Judith.
Yeah.
Well, her office now looks over one of those methadone alleys.
On Hollywood Boulevard?
No, in
No,
New
no, it
York,
was
in
in New York.
Soho, sort of. Yeah. Allison, let's get to Allison here. Allison on the line. Allison, can you hear us?
Hi there. Yes,
Hey.
I can.
Hey,
Hi,
hey.
Alice.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm just wondering if I'm practicing too much tough love with my husband. He was arrested about a month ago for driving without a license and failure to appear, and he was sentenced to 6 months. But he's been using oxyfentanyl and Xanax and I don't know what else. And
Goodies
he's gone to
locked
several
up.
Yeah, survive.
What's the
it's
question?
insane. He hasn't worked for 2 years. It's been awful. So I've detached. I told him I don't want any more words. I don't want any more promises. He has to do this on his own, and he has to get better. And I'll talk to him once in a while. I've only talked to him once in the last 5 months. I mean, 5 weeks. So I'm just wondering, is that too much tough love? Am I putting too much on him?
The only thing about I think tough love is sort of unfortunately sort of a misnomer of sorts. It should be firm boundaries, and you can only do that with the right attitude if you're going to a program called Al-Anon or you have a therapist. You have to have someone standing with you, so you do it with love and compassion, not out of anger and frustration. And usually people, reject people as opposed to going, look, I love you, I'm fully supportive, but I'm with my sponsor now, and she has suggested that we not see each other at the moment. If you make the next 3 months, I'm sure I'll be completely whatever it is. Whatever.
Do you have children with him?
No, this is both of our second marriages, so we have children separate.
Did he get the?
but,
Did he make?
Yeah,
Allison, did he get the medication from a doctor, or did he get it from the street?
No,
Oh, there you go.
he across the border in Mexico.
Because that's the other thing that people don't notify the doctors and go, hey, you prescribing drug.
Right.
If he dies, I will hold you accountable.
Exactly.
Just make that call. Look,
I was going to say.
Yeah, and then that's that.
But now the horse is out of the barn. Now,
Yeah, so the
very
question
few
is-
people are on.
He's got
those
the taste
kinds of
for.
pills.
He's got the taste of Satan inside him.
Yeah. So I think,
Yeah.
and what we usually tell people is, when they're in their disease, you can't be around them. In their recovery, you'll support him when he's fully recovered, when he's in in a place and structured and living and doing his thing. It's like, okay, you'll be back.
You got to start taking care of yourself first.
You got to take care of yourself. That's right. And,
Yeah.
and are you
I know,
going? Are you going to Al-Anon or something?
Yeah, I have a therapist and I go to Al-Anon.
Okay,
Oh, great. So you know what you're doing.
And you don't
so
sound
where is the
angry.
guilt?
The
Where
key
is
is-
where
You
is
sound
some of your
concerned.
concern whether you're doing the right or wrong thing? Is somebody criticizing you for being tough love? Where is that coming from? Somebody.
You know what's funny? I think I'm doing it to myself because
Okay.
even his parents are they live in Vegas and they've only been down here once to see him and they refuse to bail him out. He's burnt all these bridges. I think my big concern is fear if he does get out or when he does get out. He has two paths, right? He has the let's get fixed. This is my rock bottom and I'm going to go that way, or he's going to go back to Mexico and just do his thing there. So I think my biggest fear is that, but I think it's more self-induced or whatever that I'm concerned that.
No, I think your
being
fear
too
is
tough, but everybody agrees with me.
your fear is justified that he's going to die, and he could easily, very easily.
Fentanyl, he could easily.
Yeah, and so keep encouraging the treatment that's available. Get him to somebody. Find places, help him find treatment if you want, but don't have anything to do with the disease. I'm sorry, it's not going to be helpful.
You have to take care of yourself first, and that's why what Drew said, Al-Anon, is really important. It puts you in contact with other people that are walking the same path as you.
It's very scary. It's really hard.
I was talking with a real another junkie friend of mine who's known as this survivor story like me, and we both said we'd be dead in this environment. We definitely would have died
with all the availability
of fentanyl and these high
you
doses.
can just overdose on that stuff. Yeah,
the death rate is the real
insane.
junkies too. I think I texted you that.
They're all
Lisa,
dead.
my friend, died. She's been doing drugs for 30 years. Like, that's crazy.
And then suddenly
It's
dies.
crazy, right?
Yeah, it's heartbreaking what's going
It's
on
like
out
he
there.
pushes the envelope and he can do, he keeps taking this and this and this and he adds this and this and he's not dead. Or he doesn't get pulled over for driving. Or he doesn't, it's like God's watching.
does he have a
and it's just like
license?
he's
Did he have?
escaping.
No,
Did he have a
it was
driver's license?
suspended.
Oh, he's suspended.
Oh.
And he was
No.
driving anyways.
It's just,
Where'd he get
yeah,
the keys?
oh yeah, yeah.
Off
the right
bar
question.
I
counter.
like a cop. Where does he get the keys? You should have thrown him out or locked
Oh,
him
no,
up.
it's not her fault.
No, but that's the right question.
It's a
Is that-
family
It's a
disease.
car
At this
stolen,
point, it's a
too.
family
Stolen.
disease.
Oh, the stolen car. That's
He stole the car. I love this guy.
That's
my idol.
Do I
Resourceful.
know? Do I know him?
Oh, junkies are very resourceful.
Well, my dear, listen.
Wait. Facebook wants to know about Vivitrol.
Okay, hold on. So I'm gonna let Allison go. Allison, it's hard work. Make sure you have lots
Really,
of
take
support.
care of yourself.
You're doing the right thing.
There are kids there too. I know, and they love him. I understand. It's not a easy thing to do, but anything you do actively, his disease is going to take advantage of. So just stay in the corner with the people that are there to support you. Okay.
Bob and weave, like Muhammad Ali.
Exactly.
So Vivitrol is
First, what's the difference between Suboxone and Vivitrol?
Oh, very different. Suboxone is an opiate with an opioid blocking agent. It's a replacement therapy. It's buprenorphine. Vivitrol is just the blocking agent itself, and it's very good for alcoholism. I've even seen it work for cocaine, and it's a shot that lasts about a month. It's expensive as hell. That's the biggest problem. Remember we had dinner with that woman that was the nurse, that was the Vivitrol nurse, and she was talking about all the good – she was going to prisons, and it seems good results there.
Right.
And
what does it do?
It blocks the opioid
desire?
receptor.
The desire?
A little bit. Mostly blocks the
Here's
effect.
what I've observed. I've seen thousands of people take it. In the people it works in, it works amazing.
Yeah, it doesn't work with everybody.
But most it doesn't. They're ambiguous about whether it's working or not.
Yes, most.
And
That's
it's
true.
almost like psychotropic drugs. It's almost like antidepressants.
Wow, I see.
But generally, I don't know why there's not more enthusiasm for opioid blockers like naltrexone on a regular basis. Why do we have to use a partial agonist or a partial
Because it makes for good
antagonist?
patients.
Well, literally the literature says because the patient finds the drug more reinforcing. That's what the literature says.
Unbelievable.
So I think
the side effects on all these meds and just
If you had a choice-
unbelievable. You can't swallow. Your tongue blows up. You become suicidal. All these side effects.
All medicines have side effects. That's right. All medicines are dangerous.
They
They
read
are
it at
so
the end.
dangerous.
Could cause vomiting, sterilization,
I know.
and
Dizziness,
vomiting,
headaches.
death, and sudden cardiac death.
Let's
I
go
mean,
back to Janice and her life.
We've
gone way down-
Viagra commercial.
Wait,
you should
really
see the
quick,
side effects from Viagra.
Before we do that, can we? Alyssa was on the line,
phone, yeah.
and she said she only had one issue with her call about methadone. Was that
Oh,
Dr.
yeah.
Drew had asked about if I'd gone away for a year, and when I said I didn't have the money, he didn't give me an alternative.
That's the point.
That's the
That's
real
the
problem.
point. That's
and
the
I'm
point.
sorry. I'm sorry that.
No, I'm not sorry. I am not sorry. I do not apologize. I'm sorry you didn't hear what I said. What I said was that that breaks my heart, and I understand, therefore, what you had to do, and good on you for surviving in a system that is not readily available to you. You advocated on your own behalf. You found something that works, and I think hats off to you for doing so. If I could design a better treatment for you, we'd send you somewhere for a couple of years and keep you. And you're right, there's very little out there like that. There's just very little for somebody who doesn't have a lot of resources, and that's very sad. The alternatives become saving lives rather than returning somebody to full flourishing. And I get that. I totally get it.
We talked about some of the things. Yeah, she's surviving and she's stable and she's employed, and there's so many positives coming from the methadone. But she's also non-sexual and
sweating and sleepy and fatigued.
So
and
these
not
are the
sleeping.
side effects, same
Right.
as every other drug they advertise on television. Drugs have side effects.
Methadone has bad side effects. I would not.
Oh,
want to do
God,
methadone.
yeah.
And then you can't get off once you're
I
on it.
got off
From how much?
60.
60 by doing heroin for a year.
Yeah,
Okay, well that's how you get off methadone.
No, but I really wish you good luck, Alyssa.
Alyssa.
Really good luck. We weren't.
Yeah, absolutely.
Drew
That's
and
why-
Bob weren't
that's
being
why I-
slight. He was
No.
not being
No.
slight.
No.
I'm a witness to how
I
you did
think-
handle it.
I was being
and we were all saying that it is really
enthusiastic.
tough in Pennsylvania what you're going
Well, and
through.
tough everywhere.
Yeah,
and
but my prayers are with you. I really
Absolutely.
suggest the Al-Anon. Yeah, that's what I.
Al-Anon.
Here's
That's
the thing.
Allison. That's the other
just
one.
let's give her some hope. I just dealt with a client who went down from 130. It took 8 months, 5
1/3 to what?
milligrams, 5 milligrams every week or something,
That's pretty good.
right? And then he went into treatment for 60 days,
Right.
right?
Right.
At the bottom, I think they
10
get
or
you down
20.
to 20 or something, right?
We used to do that all the time.
So there's a way off. You just need health insurance. That's all. And so
Oh yes, we need a new
you
president.
do. You need health insurance.
you need, but 60 days, where do you get 60 days of treatment? It's covered by
Well,
health
it's,
insurance.
you get
What
housing
about-
with
is it on
outpatient.
Obamacare?
Housing with outpatient.
Okay.
You get like for if you got good Aetna insurance, you'll get like 3 weeks inpatient and then 9 weeks outpatient with sober living. Right?
Yeah.
And
It's still a day-to-day thing. It's like so. It's
can you imagine though? You're feeling
Meetings.
like you're feeling anxious. You know what is the feeling? He described to me like he'll wake up
You're
in
out
a
of your
good
head.
mood and then by mid afternoon he just thinks it's a terrible mistake.
Yeah.
Like I should
I could
just stay
understand
on
that.
whatever dose I'm on this week.
I feel
he
dread.
felt like
Dread.
that every week.
dread,
Right.
Right?
a sense of loss.
But he made it through, and he's
That's fantastic.
he's rocking along.
That's really good.
So, and that's why I say you never know what's going to happen.
No, you
right?
don't.
Even with the gal who thinks her husband or ex-husband's going to die from fentanyl, everybody thought I was going to die. I'm alive, and a bunch of people that told me I was going to die
Well,
are dead.
you're a different
You never
specimen,
know.
Bob. You really
You
are.
never know.
You never know.
That's true.
Bob is an original.
For sure, one of my favorite people in the world died about 9 days
Sorry.
ago.
Who was it?
Lisa, her name is. I won't go into the details, but
Ouch.
but I was sure she was never going to die of drugs, right?
She overdosed.
Yeah, it's
so
just
sorry.
it's a sad state of affairs, right? But it started with marijuana.
But it can happen. It just
No, long-term sobriety, and then it started with marijuana.
Oh, dear.
Like, so that's why I say you don't know where this journey ends.
No, you
We're
could have
just
gone
all
to a
on
Green
it.
Day concert like I did last night.
Well, but that-
secondhand
You got to
smoke.
change your sobriety
gifting
date,
suite.
Janice.
Gifting
You got to
suite.
change your sobriety date.
But
You were
that's
high
tough.
on
I
pot
know,
the
I
other
was
day.
so high last night on pot.
But people using marijuana or using Adderall, they start on a slow, weird. The thinking goes off, and it's a slow slide that people get into. Even when these things have value to them therapeutically,
Let
it
me
turns
ask
the
you
addiction
this.
back on.
What do 46-year-old people need to focus on?
Thank you.
You know what I mean? The ADHD stuff.
Right.
Who gives a
I
fuck?
was talking about it in the car.
You know what I mean? Why would a doctor, without laughing, say, "Well, you
Writing a book.
I mean, everyone has
You're
it.
not
Everyone
working in
has
nuclear physics or
Everyone
like
has
curing cancer. I don't think you need to focus
What
too
about
much.
Drew and Bob? What about like I have questions? What about all of the like I went to a gifting suite yesterday. Susan she asked me what I did yesterday. I went to a gifting suite for the Emmys, and they had a big bag of hemp oil, brownies,
Oh, yeah.
like some just all this stuff with
They are
marijuana and hemp oil.
They're outlawing
And
the
now
gummy
that
bears.
Now it's legal, but what does that do to a body to start taking hemp oil? For someone who doesn't know what they're doing.
I don't think anything does it. I don't
If
think
it doesn't have, there's
no.
this CBA, the
CBDs.
CBDs and all that.
What is it?
Those may have value. Those have therapeutic
They
value.
think they have medical value.
Yeah.
A
Like
lot of different things
what?
for dementia.
Anti-seizure.
For dementia too, right?
They're giving them out now in gift bags.
I don't think
It's
you
the
really.
chic hip thing in LA now.
Okay, that's what I'm
You
saying.
know what I mean?
Like vitamin drips.
Yeah. Oh, I got one the other day.
A banana infused, vitamin drip.
I bet you. Have you ever had?
I've never had
I was
one.
hooked up to an ozone therapy machine and a vitamin drip.
Oh,
Why?
That's LA,
That's in Vegas.
baby.
Oh, that's Vegas.
That's how you get rid of pneumonia.
Hangovers, but hangovers
Same
as
thing.
well. No.
But it's
Same
so much
thing.
cooler to have 2 IVs in and you're walking
No,
around.
but so there's
called
no
placebo.
Okay, so there's you cannot get hooked to the hemp oils or like all
you
these
can.
drops.
It depends.
The
It
drops.
depends. It
There's
depends.
THC in there.
That's
there's
what I'm
some
saying.
there's some that isn't.
Yeah.
Why they would be giving out intoxicants? Their argument is they give out champagne, don't they?
Yeah.
You know
Same
what I
thing.
mean?
That's
Yeah.
what I thought. You get alcohol too.
Yeah. I understand the argument
Yeah, but you can also become an addict and die from it eventually.
from alcohol. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I don't.
Well, the good news is that's one thing I did avoid because I was never a drunk, or an alcoholic. Well, of course I'm an alcoholic, but I have the behavior. But I wasn't. That wasn't my thing.
It wasn't your
the
drug of
sleeping
choice.
pills.
It wasn't your drug of choice. Yeah, but anything can be is the problem, and
Right.
it's that
When
slow
Bob came
slide.
to my house, he was, I remember Bob being in the kitchen, like this with. I
she
said,
had
but
so
Bob,
much booze in
I
her
said-
house.
but
It was
like in front of me,
unbelievable.
I was like, Bob. I said, people give me things. He goes, no. He's like taking the bottles like this, going like this. You want to get sober? He's taking like the Cristal and everything going down. And I'm like, it's not my thing. I have guests. He's like. No, you gotta do it.
When you walked
This
in,
is Bob
you never
Forrest.
were up there?
You gotta do it
You
100%.
walked-
Watch this. He's
you
double
walked-
fisting like tequila and
You, Bob.
champagne, and
You
I had a
walk
bar.
into her house. There's
But
right to the right is the living room
but I
with
had a bar.
huge bar.
Okay, but in a bar, I entertain and anyway, that I'm
Well,
still here.
You're still sober.
Yeah.
Thank
But I
God we
didn't
poured
reach-
that booze
But
down.
at the gifting suite yesterday, I didn't reach for the tequila. I did take I do have friends that would I think that would
cannabis-
like the cannabis oil. But
Well, with the cannabis story will sort itself out. It's been way too far one way for too long.
Right.
It's going to go too far the other way
Right.
for a while,
Mhm.
and people will figure
Balance.
it out.
Balance.
Yeah, people will figure it out.
I don't need anything but an IV drip of vitamins
And some hydrolyte.
and hydrolyte.
Yeah, dude.
Hydrolyte's got me going for the
I
last
was
hour.
doing
I-
both. What is that?
1 cup of hydrolyte per hour, I would say, will keep your serotonin level. I think this is the new answer to what I was looking for.
Optimum health.
Should we? You got any more Facebook?
I hate
questions?
to say goodbye, but we
got to say
should.
goodbye. We
You
go.
serious?
The three
So
of
we'll
us
be
could
back
go all day.
next week.
Oh, yeah.
With
Back next week for
One-
episode 100.
100.
Congratulations, Drew and Bob.
Thank
It's been a
you,
pleasure to do
Janice.
your show. Thanks,
So
Susan.
great to
Kinsey.
see
Probably
ya.
one of my favorites.
Tally ho, and away we go. See you next week in a brand new show. Right, Janice?
Right on.
Also, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, at Dr. Drew, and at This Life Podcast, drdrew.com. Check out the podcast. Me with Corolla, me with Dr. Spaz, Ami Horowitz, the Howard Vortex coming soon. And the award-winning now, my Dr. Drew podcast has got an award.
Congratulations,
Yeah,
Drew.
Award-winning. How about that?
Which award?
Podcast Movement Award.
That's amazing.
It was
Listen,
the Health and Fitness Podcast of the Year. Is that
Yes.
what- yeah.
that's amazing.
Crazy.
Congratulations.
It was.
Yeah,
It was.
that's a big kudo.
Speaking of frontotemporal
Kudo.
dementia,
Kudo.
it was a conversation with Bobcat. What they submitted was a conversation I had with Bobcat Goldthwait, where he described for the first time the last few weeks of Robin Williams' life, who had Lewy body dementia.
Ouch.
And no one knew it at the time. And I was like, oh my God. He told this story that was just heart-wrenching. It was unbelievable what that man was dealing with his last 6 months of life.
Tragic waste of life.
And Bob was his best friend. I didn't know that. And he was trying to support him through this. And the death, the demise at the end was really more to sort of just out of desperation. He was really out of his mind by that point with the dementia. Really, it just
I
very
know
tormented.
Trump has it. Trump
Oh
has
my
it.
God.
Trump's got it.
Let me just promote something on the positive. There's a family Battlefield Addiction. I'm hosting their event with Ryan Leif, the mighty Ryan Leif, who's
Nice.
turned over a new leaf.
Nice.
The
Good
football
Oh,
player
good.
who went to prison and is sober now and a big spokesperson
Cool.
for sobriety. And it's October 28th up in Seattle, the annual Battlefield Addiction Dinner and Auction. Please join us for fun. Delicious night benefiting a great cause. And
Sounds good.
that is the moms who've lost their kids. We met them.
Yes. And
They're doing something positive.
Janice
They're trying to help
Dickinson,
other moms.
Yes.
Where can we send people for you? To see you, to find you?
Oh,
to-
just hashtag Janice Dickinson.
Hashtag Janice Dickinson on Twitter.
Instagram.
Where
my
can
social media.
Where can I go binge watch those old top models where you just
You know,
rip people
they're
new ones?
still in syndication, you know, and my TV show.
It's
you
not
know.
on Hulu or Netflix or
I'm
anything?
not hawking anything. I came on the show. It's an honor to work with Bob and Drew.
Well,
I'm not
it's just
hawking anything.
our pleasure to see you doing so well and
Thank you.
thriving. And your,
That's
your
awesome.
New, your new married life.
Thank you
and
very
your
much. I'm in a good place.
grandparenting role. It's
Love
all
my
great.
husband.
Yeah. Good
There
for
you
you.
go.
All right. Thanks, Janice.
Thank
and,
you so
guys.
much. God bless.
We'll see you next time.
God bless.
Remember, you can find all these podcasts at drdrew.com. The Dr. Drew podcast, the This Life podcast, and the Adam and Drew podcast, which is available 5 days a week. Find them all on iTunes and rate us 5 stars. Subscribe and get it first. And if you're really happy, click on the Amazon banner at drdrew.com to help support the show. We'll thank you for it. If you join the email list via drdrew.com/contact, we'll send you a weekly infusion newsletter with Dr. Drew's news. We're so grateful when you get in touch. We read all your emails and we'll bring you the subject matter you want to hear about.
You live